Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are back for another episode of the Buckeye Roast. It's your boy Ron James here with my guy QP Ski. Q, how you doing?
Tired, but I'm here.
I'm tired, you're tired, but we are here and we are not alone. We are here with our special guest. It's been a minute since we talked to this guy. We got plenty to talk to and work to get to, so we are going to jump right into it. We are joined by our guy Terry T. Terry, how you doing?
Doing good, man. How's it going for y'all?
Like Q said, it's early, but we're here and we got plenty to talk about. So we are going to jump right into it. Quinn Ewers interviews this week for the Cotton Bowl talked about his time at Ohio State and talked about his roommate, Jack Sawyer, said that he doesn't have as many relationships still with the Buckeyes because it's been quite some time, but he does still have a few. Were you surprised that Quinn Ewers 2 times in a row has decided to take the high road in these interviews in the postseason? Didn't give into the Arizona State trash talk and didn't take any bait about saying anything negative about his time here with the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, dude. I don't think that Quinn left here because he hated Ohio State. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like when he came here, he was probably never going to stay here long term anyway, especially when he decided to come early. So I'm not surprised by it. What do you think, Q?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't see why he would. I see like he'd be maybe a little bit salty, but nothing to hold on to for quite that long. And certainly talk about guys years later. I mean, it's been a long time since he's been at Ohio State at this point, so I don't see why he would have punches still to throw.
Yeah, it seems like you keep seeing all of the headlines and articles of a revenge game. I'm not sure how much of a revenge, like what are we getting revenge for? Like you were here, you decided to leave, no one pushed you out, you could have stayed. Might be able to come back. So this idea that it's a revenge game is kind of funny. I don't necessarily consider it a revenge game, but it is a fun underlying storyline. He also mentioned in his interview that one of the people that he stays in touch with is former Buckeye Kyle McCord, which makes me ask the question, who's Kyle rooting for in this game?
Man, Kyle's definitely rooting against Ohio State. Kyle been rooting against Ohio State openly since the day he left.
Everything comes full circle, right? The circle's still spinning. Only Quinn Ewers can complete the circle.
I'm looking at the chat. Rob said we schedule our live streams like the Spectrum guy anytime between 8:30 a.m. and Friday. Yeah, that's about how things go around here. But we're here and we still got plenty to talk about. They asked him what were his takeaways from his time with the Buckeyes, and he said that just the professionalism and the way the Buckeyes prepare week to week, and that has to be reassuring for Buckeye fans. You know, when you hear all of the rat poison talk, you see all the hype, everyone's picking the Buckeyes, and then you hear Quinn Ewers talk about, well, the one thing that I can say about my time with the Buckeyes is that they know how to prepare week to week, and that has to be reassuring for Buckeye fans to hear, especially when a lot of fans are looking around like, I hope the Buckeyes aren't consuming all of the media rat poison of people telling them that they're great. It's probably one of the craziest flips that we've seen in narratives around a team I couldn't even tell you in sports. I don't know if you guys have a better example of the last time that we've had a team that people were so down on and within a matter of 2 games have completely changed their perspective.
Yeah, I can't remember one, dude.
Outside of ridiculous fans, probably not, where it only takes one game from their narrative week to week.
Well, dude, but the thing about it is that it's justified. That's the thing about it. It's not just the fan base that did this. It's justified. We watched this team play one of the most horrible games in Ohio State history and then turn around and probably play 2 of the best. So,
yeah, Terry made a great point there. I mean, you could say that, the flip in performance on the field by the Buckeyes between how they played against the team up north and how they've played since they've gotten to the playoffs is just as drastic as a flip as the fans base attitude towards this team. Got a super chat we got to get to. Shout out to our guy, Chris Drew. Thanks for the 5. Should Ryan Day bring gold pants to Quinn to give him after OSU wins? I think so. If not, and I'll send them to him.
He should have been had those.
The company's gonna go out of business if they don't start getting some gold pants orders in. So he's got to get some income going.
Yeah, I hear you there. Or maybe Ryan Day tells him come to Columbus and earn a pair.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'll say, yeah. We will see, but I'm not surprised with the team focus we're in right now. I think we were talking, obviously we've had some spaces with Texas this week, and they were like, you think guys are gonna feed in and not take this seriously? And I'm like, you don't know this team. Nobody's won anything. Like, really, if you look down the roster from coaches, anything in the last 4 years. So there's nothing really to go crazy about. There's no Big Ten ring. There's no gold pants. There's not a lot of for this team to be like, oh yeah, job's done. It's like we don't have any much hardware. We got maybe a bowl game here or there, but there's not too much to celebrate. So I see, like Tyleik Williams said, we're here to win the ship, and that's the focus because that's all we got left.
That's why I'm not worried about the team not being focused, bro. Like this team has these players pretty much have felt nothing but pain in their career. Like, okay, they beat all these teams, and then people was like, oh, but you're supposed to beat them. But every time that they went into a game, you guys know that game. You guys play sports, I'm sure. You know how it is. You go into that big game, they lost every single time. It's just like, so they got to be locked in, bro. They have to be.
Shout out to our guy Clay. Said checking in from behind enemy lines in Knoxville, or as we like to call it, Columbus South. Shout out to you. Let us know in the chat where you guys are watching from. If you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button. If you are on Twitter, make sure you retweet and like the video. It helps us a ton. We talked a little bit earlier about the rat poison. You saw videos come out from inside the Woody. They appear to be pumping noise into practice, anticipating a large crowd from Texas. You see the graphics, snow everywhere in Texas. It's crazy. The flip that we've done, the initial graphic for the Cotton Bowl came out, and people are complaining there are no cactuses in in Arlington. Well, it looks like there's about to be some snow. All the reports are about snow heading to Texas. Are you guys concerned about this game potentially being postponed?
Thank you.
I guess maybe a little, but I mean, what's gonna move a day? Like, if it goes from Friday to Saturday, I'm not too crazy about it. I mean, heck, they move it to Monday. I mean, what is it gonna matter? It's not gonna change much. I feel like these teams are gonna be prepared, and they're gonna get time to get their feet on the ground, get a practice in, and it's not really gonna change the outcome. I mean, yeah, it's gonna affect. I mean, if you're flying out there, it's gonna affect your schedule, but on the field, I don't think it does much to. And I'm not going, so I'm watching on TV, so it'll be fine for me.
I heard the weather report changed now. Instead of like the 12 inches of snow, or whatever the hell they was talking about, it was they're saying like 1 to 6 inches now. So I think it'll be good. I think everything's gonna be cool.
Bro, updated his Tinder bio. 12 inches, not 1 to 6. Sorry, my bad.
Come on, man.
Oh, man, you can't trust the weatherman. I'm going to tell you, for my own personal interest, I got shit going on Saturday, so they need to get this game done on Friday, because then it is going to turn my Saturday into a day from hell. So, weathermen, weather gods, whoever's listening, we need to play this game on Friday. And it's crazy because I don't know how – I'm not going to dox everyone and say our ages, but we've been on this earth quite some time, and I promise you this isn't the fucking first time that it snowed in Texas. And every time it snows in Texas, what do they say? Well, it never rains here. Or it never snows here. Like, yes, it fucking does. We've been through this a million times. It's about time you maybe get some salt trucks. Like, hear me out.
Don't you guys get this like at least once a year now? Like, that's what we get in Ohio pretty much now. We get one bad snow year and then it's done.
Exactly. And then you know it's coming. Like, bro, you better get some contractors from a state with some fucking snow and get some plows in. It just right. Blows my mind that there's a state that's just like, you know what? Nothing we can do about this. I know every other state in the union has a solution for this, but no state income taxes and no snow plows. Like, come to Texas. It's just mind blowing that we could potentially be canceling a national championship semifinal because a state in 2025 still doesn't have snow plows.
Like I know there's 50 Ohio State fans in Texas that have a truck. Like,
well, they make it seem like they don't even like you can't even fucking buy a plow there. It's like, oh well, we know snow's coming. We definitely don't have vehicles that you could attach a plow to. I don't know. It's fucking crazy to me. I hope the game happens, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. But outside of the weather, is there anything concerning you regarding the preparation for this game? We talked a little bit earlier about the Buckeyes pumping the noise in, trying to avoid the rat poison, but it seems like it has to be inevitable. Do you think they're doing something extra to keep the team locked in, to keep them focused, to keep them offline? I mean, I can tag players and post because I promise you, Michigan fans and Texas fans are going to find it and talk crazy to them. But there's also no shortage of national media jumping on the Buckeye bandwagon. Do you feel like the Buckeyes are going to be able to tune it out for 2 games? Because, I mean, if they're able to get through this game, it's going to get even louder going into a national championship.
Go ahead, Q.
I mean, like I said, they're going to pull out all the stops to prepare, but it's nothing really this team hasn't seen before. I mean, the one thing about this team is they have experience. Now, it may not all be positive in games and out, but you have a lot of experience on this team. You have a lot of guys who played a lot of big-time games on this team. I mean, Will Howard going back, he's been there quite a few times, or a couple times, being the Big Ten championship. He's played Texas before. He knows what to expect from that crowd, and it is a home game, but I mean, we've seen this before. I mean, word has it, what was it? It was 60-40 Oregon, so someone said. So supposedly, we just played a road game. So they're going to pull out all the stops and prepare. But like I said, at this point in the season, it's business as usual. I feel like the factors is on the field. And the game's going to be decided because which team executes the best, which team comes out and plays the best, which team focuses and limits their mistakes. And I feel like that's sort of the more important things here. I mean, as long as Chip Kelly and Ryan Day are focused, then I'm good. It's outside of those 2 guys, like I got no worries about anybody else.
When you look at the title, we said one thing that will decide the Cotton Bowl. I don't know how much you guys have looked at the notes, but prior to looking at the notes, did you guys have something that you thought might decide this game? Because I sure do, because I've seen plenty of statistics out there that make me think the Buckeyes have a huge advantage going into this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest, Ron. I'm sorry if I step on your toes on the notes because I didn't look at that part of it. Once I seen that, I just started thinking about, mine. But I mean, for me, dude, it's just how locked in this Ohio State defense is, bro. Like, if you look at Ohio State's defense, it's really a bunch of players that have kind of been told that you're not as good as people say you are. You know what I mean? Like, you have Denzel Burke, Cody Simon, Jack Sawyer, JT, like all those guys. They've all been told, like, oh, you were expected first rounder. You're not that type of good. Cody Simon, not necessarily expected first rounder, but kind of the same concept. Just how you're not as good as people say you are. And I think they got a chip on their shoulder, dude. This defense is really what's going to be the difference in this game to me.
Q?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit space, but yeah, I would say Ohio State's receivers versus Will Howard versus defensive backfield by Texas. I mean, all week, and I know they're good. I've been hearing this touted Texas secondary, and it was like, you see the way they torched Oregon? We're not Oregon, or we're not anybody you've played this season on defense. Texas defense is very good, but we know Ohio State has had a philosophy change. It's been, we're going to pass, open up the run. Can Chip Kelly and Ryan Day scheme up this defense? Can they have success? Can they win one-on-one matchups? I mean, I know they just believe it's Jeremiah Smith, and if we stop him, we'll be fine. But I think Chip Kelly is creative enough that we know it is going to be a full unit-on-unit attack. So that's the one thing that concerned me. If this Texas defensive backfield can have success and limit it and make Ohio State maybe have to run the ball a little more than they want to early, then I think it'll be a more competitive matchup on that side of the ball. But if Ohio State can continue as usual and have even good success against this defensive backfield, then I think, they'll roll.
Our guy Cam jumped in on the action. Thanks for the 10. My biggest concern is we haven't seen OSU win a close game versus a good team since the last week of November. Blowing everyone out doesn't seem sustainable, in my opinion. We'll need to win a dogfight. I hope you're wrong. I'd like to see a blowout for the next 2 games. I appreciate the 10,
going,
Cam,
right?
But I'm rooting against this prediction. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's going to be closer, but I can definitely see this game being one that we're not concerned about at the very end of the game. That's what I'm hoping for, at least.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't expect a blowout, but I'm also not worried about Ohio State winning a close game. I mean, usually without some catastrophe happening somewhere in there, you're like, well, that was really stupid, or just a shot in the foot. I feel confident this team can go and win a close game, even though maybe we haven't showed it all season. I mean, I feel like the Penn State game kind of showed that, of them managing a game and getting out of there with a win.
Yeah, I honestly, I'll take a win whichever way we will get it, but definitely would prefer a blowout by the Buckeyes. I wanted to jump into the one thing that I thought might decide this game, and it feels like this is going to come down to the trenches for the Buckeyes and the Longhorns in this game. When you look at the Oregon game, the Ducks had negative 23 rushing yards against the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes averaging 2.7 yards per carry allowed. Texas rushed for under 100 yards against Georgia in their 2 losses and only ran for 57 yards against Arizona State. The Buckeyes have been absolutely shutting down the run against opponents, and Texas has been struggling to run the ball as of late, especially with the injuries that they are dealing with at the running back position. How big of a factor do you think the Buckeyes' ability to stop the run is going to impact Texas? Because it feels like it opens the door for the Buckeyes to potentially make this Texas team one-dimensional and really pin their ears back and get after Quinn Ewers.
That's kind of what I was getting at, dude. I just think the defense is going to be the thing that's the difference. And I think they'll be able to stop the run, like you said. I mean, I just was listening to some earlier today, and they were talking about how like the best defenses that Texas went against this year, the run game kind of got stopped. Which, I mean, that's everybody, right? You play the better team, better defense, your stats are probably going to be a little bit lower. But I think that Ohio State does have the defense that can stop Texas's run. And I think that they know that that's the way to beat them, is to force them into like situations where they have to pass. And recently Ohio State's been very good at getting after the quarterback once they get to the team to that point where they kind of have to throw the ball. So, yeah, I think they'll be able to stop the run for sure.
Real quick off topic, Christian was spamming the chat. It's not my birthday. Stop listening to this man.
I was about to say, I was like, I'm not about to stop the show because I don't think it's Q's birthday. But then I just had to message Q in the private chat like, all right, everyone keeps saying it. Am I fucking missing something? Because I know people are going to start
I've seen that.
At
I'm
the moment and be like, man,
Chris is trolling.
Ron's a dick. He hasn't mentioned Q's birthday this entire time, and I'm sitting here like, it's not his birthday. And I had to get Q in the private chat like, am I the worst co-host ever? Like, do I need to add you on Facebook? Because I did not know today was your birthday. I'm almost certain it's not. And I just keep seeing happy birthday in the chat. And I'm sure like people are probably looking like, is anyone going to address it? It's bro's birthday. He's here at 6 a.m. on his birthday to talk Buckeyes, and no one's talking about it. It's not Q's birthday. But shout out to Chris Drew and shout out to everybody that wished Q a happy birthday today.
The comment right above that says Q just turned 21.
Oh my God. Yeah, I've been sneaking in the bars all this time. As far as the game goes in the rushing attack, I don't think you take the pulse from Texas fans. I don't think they feel confident in their rushing attack right now. I think they feel like it has struggled to get going,
exactly.
and certain things like that. And the way I saw the defensive line play at Oregon, I don't know if they will ever play like that again. I mean, that level was unseen to where the line of scrimmage never moved, like all game, or moved backwards. I mean, negative 23 rushing yards is a bit crazy. But yeah, I feel like on the defense side of the ball, there's a lot of advantages. I feel like if Ohio State, you look at the way they match up versus Texas offense, defensive line are going to have the advantage. I feel like in the secondary, they'll probably have the advantage. So, I mean, it bodes well for them. They can handle. They can handle. I'm tired of y'all. They can handle their business on offense. Everything should be fine.
Oh man, for those that are new to the show, Q goes and watches the Buckeyes at a bar in Arizona called Busty Blondes every weekend. It's a big Buckeye bar down there in Arizona. So if you know, you know. You talked about the pass rush after they become one-dimensional. This Texas offensive line is 81st in the country in sacks allowed and ranked 119 in tackles for losses. The Buckeyes had 8 sacks and 13 tackles for loss against Oregon. It feels like the most complete performance that we've seen out of JTT, Jack Sawyer, and Larry Johnson's defensive line. What should Buckeye fans expect out of these guys? Because, I mean, one week it looks like the most destructive defensive line that we've seen in a very long time at Ohio State. And then sometimes it's like, against the same exact opponent, 0 sacks and 2 tackles for loss in the first matchup against Oregon. What iteration of this defensive line from Jim Knowles and Larry Johnson do you expect?
Dude, I've been the most critical about Jim Knowles, and a lot of people hate me for it because Jim Knowles has obviously done a great job at Ohio State.
Knowles,
but it's not that. It's
as
just,
we call him around here, never criticize that
Jim
man.
Knowles,
always
right?
Always good things to say.
It's just like the dumb stuff, dude. Like I feel like our defensive line has taken so much criticism just because of what they were being asked to do. And now they're kind of like letting them loose and letting them get after it and using the back end to kind of fill whatever space they create. And I think that's really benefiting them. It's allowing guys like JTT and Jack to really get after it. So I expect them to continue that and maybe even mix in some blitzing because the team that really shut Texas down the most, Georgia, they blitzed the hell out of them like all game. I expect them to mix those two things together, and I think the D-line is going to really get after it, man. Like, I mean, 8 sacks I think they had against Dylan Gabriel. I don't know about that. Like, I mean, probably not 8 sacks, but I mean, definitely getting after it and making a big impact on the game for sure.
That's the number that was touted. Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty confident in our run stopping ability. And the crazy thing was Dylan Gabriel was the unsackable quarterback. He was the guy you couldn't get through because he's always somehow avoiding sacks, which is very annoying. But if they were able to get to him like that and they can do anything what's similar, I mean, that's a good amount of sacks on Quinn Ewers, who's not nearly as mobile as Dylan Gabriel is. So we will see there, but I feel confident in the defensive line. I don't know if they'll go that crazy, but I feel like it'll be another good ball game from them.
I want to pivot to the other side of the ball, and I wanted to stick with the trenches because it feels like as we get closer and closer, it's just like the way that I'm looking at these games is just 2 more games. It's only 2 more games. We have to lock in for 2 more games. And I have it written in the show notes. Does this offensive line have 2 miracles left in them? Because it feels like the Buckeyes are running on fumes when it comes to this offensive line with the amount of rotation and different bodies that they've had to switch into this offensive line. And they seem to be able to plug every hole up to this point. There's 2 games left. Do they still have 2 miracles left in them?
Thank you.
I don't really feel like these are miracles. I mean, I feel like they are being very well schemed to get away from their weaknesses. So they're doing the job about avoiding sacks every game. Somebody's going to get one. Texas probably can get one, or maybe 2 this weekend. But I don't feel like – I just feel like they're playing to their strengths. They're realizing, hey, we got to get the ball out of Will Howard's hands. We can't let the pass rush get to him. And when we loosen up the defense – then we'll run the ball. So I don't feel like these are miracles. If they can they maintain this level? Sure, because they're being put in the best position to succeed, which is the coach's job.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that they're being put in the best position to succeed, and you have to give credit to Justin Fry. We've asked multiple times. We've asked multiple times on this show: is his job safe? Is it not safe? I mean, I feel like we are firmly in the safe corner now these days with Justin Fry. We have one more super chat before we get out of here. Chris Drew, thanks for the 5. A big shout out to Chris, of course. Over under 3.5 sacks for the D line. Bonnet Q over Penn State JT. Q, I'm gonna need you to wrap us up and get us out of here. I gotta jump and get on a call, but I appreciate everybody. Apologies for the short show today, but we appreciate you guys.
All right, go for it. We'll say here, all right, over under 3 sacks from Mr. Chris Drew for this D line. Is Chris Drew? Are you talking about the Ohio State D line or Texas D line? If it's Ohio State D line, right now we could do both. I mean, I would take 3. I probably would. That'll work for me. I would say as long as they continue to crush and get pressure on Quinn. I don't know how things are going to turn. Okay, Ohio State D line. Yeah, I might go under. I don't know if they will go crazy. I feel like at 8 they took some sacks from next week. But I will say if they get 3, I'm very happy with it. As long as they continue to get pressure and not allow Texas to run the ball and make Quinn, because that's the thing. Texas does not want to put the ball in Quinn's hands and tell him go win a game. And they specifically mentioned that last week against Arizona State was the first time, or one of the first times they put the ball in Quinn Ewers' hands and had him go win a game, and he did, and he was successful doing it. So most definitely, I'd say I would take the under, but I would say, hey man, I'm happy. What if you get a couple sacks? You get Quinn Ewers to rush in the pocket, start seeing ghosts back there. I think Ohio State's defense is really going to roll in this game. And I mean, the way Cody Simon's been playing and the way he's been used in the blitz, almost Jack-like, as we've heard, where you maybe delay him and then have him go get to the quarterback. It could go to over, but if I was a betting man right now, I would take the under. But in the chat, Ohio State, Chris Drew asked it, Ohio State over under 3.5 sacks in the game. Let me know about that one. But yeah, as far as Ohio State, yeah, I don't think they're giving away too many sacks on the offensive side of the ball. I think they're going to be good for it because they've been schemed up, like I said, not to give up sacks. But I think that was the last super chat. Y'all got any questions before I get out of here? Chris Drew's been hitting the super chats today. Chris, throw me a couple hundred for my birthday so I can go out and get a nice meal. But let me see. But yeah. I think Terry jumped out of here too. So, I mean, that pretty much wraps it up, man. I'm like I said, I've been feeling good about this game. I've been feeling like the Texas and the Georgias, and we've argued about it, have been a little inflated this season. They haven't been as good. I mean, I feel like, Ohio State, if they can continue to play at their level or even close to that, they should roll in this game. There's not a crazy much to fear in this game, for real. As far as I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, offense take care of the ball. Even if Ohio State scores, I would say high 20s, maybe we don't hit the 40 clip, maybe we don't come and blow them out. If we're putting up the high 20s, I don't think Texas can keep up with that. I think this defense is going to leave them low without turnovers or mistakes. I think they'll be good to go. So that's kind of how I'm feeling about it, the pulse about it. I will see how Texas fans feel more coming in, but they're pretty confident. We're pretty confident. Again, Ohio State is going to walk in and see that Texas logo, and no matter how you feel, no matter how no matter how you feel about it, I feel like they're gonna show up and show out. And like you see that Texas uniform, it's no longer we can sleepwalk through this. It's Texas walking on the field. So I feel good about it, man. Confident. But if y'all don't got any more questions or nothing, I can go ahead and wrap it up there. So let me do that. If y'all got a question, throw it in there while I do that. But hey, if you are in the community, well, first of all, like the video if you're up here. Make sure you give that like, all that, share it with somebody. We're rolling into the end of the season. We're on a natty run. So we will continue to wake up these early mornings and talk ball is hopefully for a couple more weeks here as we wrap up the season and finally chase this natty that Mike, me, Cam, and Ron have been waiting to come since we started podcasting. So make sure you hit that like on that video. If you're on Twitter, go ahead and like and retweet that. So on Ron's Twitter and also in the community. So make sure you do that. If you're not in the community, let us know. We can definitely get you in there. If you want to find me, City Boy Quinn on Twitter, not hard to find. So make sure you do that there. Find Josh on Instagram and Minor League Films on YouTube if you're here the movie. Terry T, college football stop. Make sure you check out him and Mike. Fans Edge should be tonight at, I always forget because I'm on a different time, but it's 8, 7. Terry put in the chat. Is it 7 tonight for the Fans Edge? I think it's 7 Eastern. So make sure you check that out. Him and Mike do a great job every week. So do that and follow him on Twitter. College football stops, not hard to find. And yeah, that's really all I got. So 7:30, there we go. So 7:30 Eastern, 5:30 if you're where I'm at. So make sure you do that as well. But yeah, that's all we got. Appreciate Terry joining us as usual. We definitely get more input for him tonight as he does a great game breakdown. So we'll look forward to that. But again, me and Ron will be back tomorrow, and the game might be on Friday, might be on Saturday, but we'll be through the rest of the week. And hey, man, it's another week. We get another Buckeye win. We going for a natty, so got to be excited about that. But that's all I got. Appreciate you tuning in. All that good stuff. You know how this ends once I find the video. Where's it? There we go. All right. You know how this ends. Always go Bucks. And I'm the only one out here. Oh, OH. Forgot I can't lob it to nobody. OH. I always lose this thing. Got it. Yeah.